The regret older people talk about most. For years, a woman named Bronnie Ware worked as a palliative caregiver, sitting with people in the final weeks of their lives. She wasn't there to treat them. She was there to listen. And over time, she started noticing something strange. Almost nobody, at the very end, talked about the mistakes they made. They talked about the things they never did. The call they didn't make. The apology they never gave. The life they never tried to live, because they were too afraid, too busy, or too certain there'd be more time. If you had to guess right now what you might regret most one day, would you know the answer? Today, we're going into the psychology of regret, what people say they regret most, why the mind works this way, and what it might be quietly trying to tell you before it's too late to listen. Most people assume regret is about the bad decisions they made. But psychologists who study regret have found something counterintuitive. Researchers Thomas Gilovich and Victoria Medvec studied how people look back on their lives, and found that regrets of inaction, the things people didn't do, tended to outnumber and outlast regrets of action over time. In the short term, we regret our mistakes. But across a lifetime, we regret our silence. Our hesitation. Our missed chances. A mistake has an ending. You made a choice, it went wrong, and eventually your mind finds a way to make peace with it. But something you never did stays open. Unfinished. Your mind can imagine infinite versions of how it might have gone, and it never stops wondering. This is where Bronnie Ware's story becomes useful. To be clear, what she collected wasn't a research study. It's not scientific data. But it offers a striking set of observations about what people may wish they'd done differently. Here's what she heard most often. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Ware described this as the most common regret she encountered. Not because people made bad choices, but because so many spent years living according to someone else's plan. A parent's expectations. A safe career. A path that looked right from the outside. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. This came up especially among people reflecting on time with their families, not because work itself was the problem, but because of what quietly got traded away for it. I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. Silence, it turns out, is rarely remembered as keeping the peace. It's remembered as a door that never opened. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. Relationships that once felt permanent, the ones you assume will always be there, are often the ones that quietly disappear through simple neglect, not conflict. I wish I had let myself be happier. Sometimes the barrier wasn't circumstances at all. It was a decision, made so long ago it stopped feeling like a decision, to hold back from joy itself. If people already sense these regrets forming, why don't they change course sooner? Part of the answer is something psychologists call temporal discounting. Our brains are wired to weigh present costs more heavily than future ones. So we tell ourselves, not yet. I'll reach out next month. I'll leave that job next year. I'll tell them how I feel when the moment is right. Each time we choose not yet, it feels like a small, reasonable decision. It's only decades of small not yets that add up to a life that quietly drifted away from the one we meant to live. It's worth pausing on an important distinction. Guilt says, I did something wrong. Regret says, I wish I had done something differently. Guilt tends to fade once you make amends. Regret can linger indefinitely, because there's often no clear action left to take. The moment, the person, or the chance is simply gone. Understanding that distinction matters, because it changes what you can actually do about it. You can't undo a missed chance from 10 years ago. But you can pay attention to the doors that are still open right now. So what do you actually do with all of this? Not panic. Not chase a rushed, dramatic life overhaul. Just 3 honest questions, asked regularly. First, is there a version of my life I've quietly put on hold for later? Later has a way of becoming never. Second, is there someone I've meant to reach out to and keep telling myself I will? The relationships people wish they'd maintained were rarely lost to a single event. They were lost to time. Third, am I making choices based on what I actually want, or what I think I'm supposed to want? The most repeated regret of all wasn't about a specific decision. It was about an entire life shaped by other people's expectations. You don't need to answer these perfectly. You just need to actually ask them. None of this means you need to rearrange your entire life today. But it might mean making one call you've been putting off. Having one conversation you've been avoiding. Or letting yourself want something you've quietly stopped allowing yourself to want. Because the people who've studied and witnessed regret all arrive at a strikingly similar conclusion. It's almost never the risk you took that you regret most. It's the one you didn't. If this made you think about your own life a little differently, subscribe to Red Flag Psychology for more videos on the psychology of relationships, aging, and the patterns that quietly shape our lives. Because sometimes the most important red flag is the life we keep postponing.